Welcome, listeners, to Half Haunted, the podcast where we tiptoe between the paranormal and the funny side of life. We will share tales of ghostly encounters and everything in between. Join us on this hauntingly hilarious journey as we explore the unexplained, the eerie, and the downright funny encounters that life brings. So grab your drink and a snack and get ready to laugh and gasp in equal measure as we uncover the mysteries of the half-haunted world, where the paranormal meets the punchline. I'm Candy, your half-haunted host, where the ghosts have a sense of humor and the spirits have stories to share. Welcome back to episode 5. We're going to talk about the place that's been on my paranormal bucket list, the famous Ashmore Estates, and it's in Illinois. I'm your host, Candy Dean, and today I'm with my special guest host, Matt. Welcome to Half Haunted, Matt.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Traveler's Moon was a paranormal group I found on Facebook several months ago. So they set up this public investigation that at the Ashmore Estates that you and I attended. So I'll tell you a little bit about the Ashmore Estates, and then we'll get into the good stuff.
And they were really professional too.
Yes, they were. I was surprised.
Yes.
Very professional.
Yes, it was a lot more than I expected.
Yes, I enjoyed it.
Yes.
Ashmore Estates was built as part of the Coles County Poor Farm in 1916 and stayed in operation until the mid-50s when it was sold and later reopened as a psychiatric hospital unit until the late 80s, and then it was also a nursing home. It was over 250 acres at one point. The Ashmore Estates was actually the second building that was on the property, and most of the people that were in the mental institution, the poor farm, were called inmates. Was that what you got out of it, Matt? They were called inmates.
Yes.
And 200 people died on the property.
And that was just known. There might have been more. So
I know. So creepy.
it was kind of messed up to think though that was some people's favorite place. So
Yeah, they called it home and they wanted to go there.
mm-hmm.
It's like it was an interesting place, put it that way.
Very.
So there was a group of the Traveler's Moon. It was Chris Nelson, he was more of the technical guy, and there was Kelly McCarville, she was the psychic medium, and then they had a special guest paranormal investigator John Cassidy. So they chit-chatted a little bit before they took us around. There was about 20 people, and they put us into groups. And so Matt and I went up to the second floor first with John Cassidy, and he had all kinds of cool equipment. He had like an SLS camera, and what else did he have?
They had that spirit box thing that would light
like
up.
A ghost box. Yeah.
Yeah, and it had an antenna that popped out of the top of it. I forget what they called. There was a word that I can't remember what it was though.
A REM pod.
There you go. Pod. There you go. Yep.
So we went up. Matt and I were the first up to the second floor, and it was creepy. Oh my god, that hallway was so creepy.
Oh, I know.
What were your first impressions on the second floor?
I was just really interested just to start looking around. You could tell like somebody was like, or people were watching you. You know what I mean? It was weird. I know what it feels.
You definitely felt like you weren't alone in that place, like when you first got up there.
I always felt like there was somebody like standing right behind me, to where I was like always looking behind. Yeah, but and this was the very first one I've ever gone on in my life. So
it was definitely crazy. So John Cassidy, the paranormal investigator was kind of guiding us through the different equipment and what it does, and there was other people in our group. There's about 6 or 7 of us in each group, and there were different floors. There was 3 floors, so some of us were on the third floor, some of us were on the second, and then the first. So Matt and I started on the second floor, and he started telling us about the different SLS cameras, what it does, and everything. And then so we started to make our way down to this room, and the room was made. It had a bed in it, and had toys in it, and it had a couch in it, and everything. So we all went into this room, and he had, I guess, one of the other participants, the other investigators, had a bear with a, what was it, a cat ball they called it? I don't know, it lit up if a person was around it or a ghost was around it, like an EMF detector type thing. If some type of energy was around it, it would light up. And then she had a REM pod right next to it too. So, and then another lady had a SLS camera on the bear. And I'm sitting there, and Matt's standing there, and we're sitting there, and that thing went off by itself. And I do have video of this, and I'll throw it on my website. But I do have video of this, and I'm like, oh my God, that thing lit up by itself, and the Ovilus was going off too. And I asked it if, I said, my name is Candy. Do you like candy? Because, there's supposed to be a little girl apparition there. And it said yes. And I was like, oh my God. It's so
Yeah.
creepy. But
Yeah.
it was going off. Like there was EMF detector, and then down at the end of the hall, at the other stairwell, the light kept going off. The sensor. I don't know if it was just a messed up sensor, light switch, whatever. But there was nobody going in
No,
that
and
stairwell.
it was working fine when somebody would walk through there, but it was doing it
Right.
on its own too, and not like at a constant to where it would be something technical. It was really spontaneous when it did it.
Yeah, and then the stairwell when we actually used the other one that everybody used, that was kind of sketchy too, because you would think when those sensor lights they would stay on when there's continuous movement, but we would go upstairs and it would turn off right in the middle of the step. You were stepping right up and it would just turn, the light would turn off. So
Yeah, I just
I had
I
my
went.
flashlight. Whew.
I just know like whenever I was just trying to be as completely quiet as I could so I could hear everything. you know.
There were noises and we kept hearing it.
But
Was that the second floor with the beeping sound?
yes, but for the most part, it was really quiet.
Yeah,
I
it
thought
was
it
a little
was.
quiet, but it
Yeah.
had it had that feeling though, like you said earlier, of people
Oh,
were there.
I guarantee, like we said, if you were and another person just went in there with by yourself, with none of this other stuff going on, I think it'd be like a whole different kind of thing going on there.
Yeah, I agree with you because if like you and I went by ourselves, completely by ourselves, no one was around, I think we would have a lot more interaction and a
Oh
lot more going
yeah.
on. I really do. I wouldn't want to spend the night there by myself. That's just my
Uh-uh.
own opinion. No, thank you.
No. No.
Yeah, that's a no for
No.
me. I love ghosts. I love paranormal stuff, but yeah, no. There's only so
Mm-mm.
much I can do. After that, we made our way to the third floor, and Chris Nelson was the paranormal guide up there. He had this cat ball. Um, it looked like a almost like a Ouija board type set out, but he used
It
the
was
cat balls, right?
yeah, it was a Ouija board, and the bulbs uh, would glow whatever it was trying to say instead of that marker thing that would be on there. But it was really big.
And you really had to like be around it, like you really had to touch it to make it go off. Like it wouldn't just
Oh
go off on.
yeah, no, no. And
I had
I was while everybody else like got up and started walking away, I didn't. I sat right there that entire time, and I seen it first start doing it, and I was like, huh. Well, and I didn't say anything. So
Yeah, and I'm sitting there too, and the thing started going off, and I have video of it too, and I'm like, this thing's going off. And he was saying that one of the other balls on there was like,
yeah,
I guess, messed
yeah,
up,
he,
but it,
well, yeah, you told him the letter, and he was like, oh yeah, I had to put a bulb in that one because it's been malfunctioning, and then they couldn't find out it wasn't that one at all. It
it
was
was
that,
a,
yeah, it was like a letter P or something.
it was wild though. Like it kept doing it, and I'm like, what? And then he was like stomping around. You really had to like get up on it to touch it. It was wild.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
I'm
kind of like,
sitting there, and then I thought, like, you were next to me, right? I'm sitting in the chair,
hmm
you were next to me, and people are walking around. They're down the hallway, right? Because there's only like six of us, right? Seven of us. They're down the hallway.
hmm
I turned to the left to look at Matt. I swear to God, I thought someone was walking behind Matt up the hallway, but nobody was there. I saw a shadow figure behind you in the hallway. It was creepy. It was wild.
oh.
Really wild. And then remember the stairwell? The lady was like, we heard that footstep. We thought they were coming up the stairwell.
Yeah, yeah, and those things are like treacherous too because it seemed like they were just a bit too small.
So that music box, the guy had a music box. Remember that? And he said that they
Yes.
special made that one to make it sound like the music from The Conjuring. So it's kind of like
hmm
a REM pod. So if the energy goes around the music box, it'll go off, right? And
Right.
so he had it down the hallway at first, right? And it kind of went off when we were all down there and he was talking.
Mm.
Didn't we walked past it? We were a good 25 feet from it, and then the others hadn't passed it yet, and it went off, right? Didn't it go off? I thought it went
hmm
off. I was
Yeah,
like, oh, hell no.
and we were sitting in that room and she was like showing us how exactly close you had to be like literally on that thing for it to start going off, you know?
Yeah.
And there we were sitting away from it, all of us, and that thing was going off. It was like hitting it. It was almost like like if you were getting a bite on a fishing pole. Beep beep beep.
Yeah, it was the craziest thing. The third floor was interesting. I liked it, and then it made it creepy with all the toys, and there was the Raggedy Ann doll, and it's so cold in there because they don't have
Yeah.
heating or
Yeah,
air
it was.
conditioning.
Yeah, it was kind of strange. Like it wasn't in that one other room that was, even though it was downstairs where we first
Hmm.
came in, it was cold in there.
Oh
Cold.
man, it was freezing.
Other than that room, I felt pretty good to me. Although I like it a little chilly.
I do too. I'd rather be cold than hot any day.
hmm
Yeah, the stairs weren't, I mean, for me, climbing, it was only 3 floors, thank God, so it wasn't terribly bad, but the lighting in the stairwell was weird. I mean, I try to
Yeah.
debunk it, and I'm like, well, if you have a motion sensor light, that's just weird, because if you have continuous motion, it should stay on when you're trying to go up the stairs, but it went off
hmm
several times mid-step going up and down it, and that was kind of scary. But I didn't feel like anybody touching me or anything like that.
Huh.
It, it
No.
just felt like people were there with you, watching you on all floors. After the crazy music box, Matt and I went down to the first floor and we sat where it was like in this room we sat in, right? Where we had the
Like orientation
yeah, and
thing.
it was next to the boiler room, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it actually that was. I thought they said that was like a delivery room or a
Yeah.
mail room or something, but it actually had the original windows in it and stuff, and that I
Yeah, it
was
was
like,
pretty cool.
whoa,
And
yeah, it
that
was
was with
old.
the Kelly McCarville. She's a psychic medium and paranormal investigator, spirit box. And they all three had spirit boxes, but they were all a different version of it, which is kind of cool. They had different
See,
versions.
and it's that they could have been like the most famous one in their like what they do, and would have all been there, and I would have never known, you know.
Yeah, yeah. You newbies wouldn't have known the difference.
Nope. I
But I
would have
think
just
hers
thought
was kind of cool though.
I would have just thought that they were somebody just bought a ticket to go like I did.
Yeah, hers is kind of neat though. She had these like cool purple lights, and it
Oh
was kind
yeah.
of like a REM pod, similar to a REM
But
pod. If you
man, and they were that stuff is pricey.
So you want to tell them about what happened to us on the first floor, which was the coolest evidence I've recorded in a while or heard in a while. You want me to tell
Go
them what happened?
you go right ahead.
So, so the Kelly, the McCarville, she had this ghost box session thing that she used, and she uses one that has like different, was it like syllables? Like it doesn't have full words, and
Yeah,
it's
it would just go like hey, like if
E,
you
ah, O,
yeah,
or whatever. It
yeah,
didn't have all
yeah.
the words.
Same
So
vowels, yeah.
yeah, so she was telling, going through the emotions. Are you here? Is there anybody that like to speak to us? The usual stuff. And then finally she goes, can you tell us the name of anybody here? And it's going through and it sounds like you can hear guys, right? And then all of a sudden it sounds out Matt's name. It
It,
said Matt.
a little girl says, Matt,
Matt, and I'm like, I
yeah.
immediately turned to Matt. Matt looks at me. I'm like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
but it was dark enough where I couldn't see you, but yeah, I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
I heard it plain as day.
it was definitely said Matt, and I was like, what the heck? But
Well,
yeah, and then
I wish you could play like a clip of it.
Do you know the name of anybody sitting in the room right now? Can you say one of our names?
yeah, we heard noises too. We thought it was someone's stomach, but it wasn't. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then the teddy bear was down there too, and it kind of lit up for a little bit, and then the light, the EMF light rope purple thing lit up a few times.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. And then
Yeah.
that was for a couple hours, and then they said we can do our own investigation wander, but I was too tired and exhausted from doing the floors, so I was like, Matt, let's go, and we ended up leaving, but it was definitely did not disappoint at all.
No.
The Traveler's Moon people that put on the public investigation was outstanding, um, very informative, very friendly. Um, I would highly recommend following them, on Facebook. I'm actually going to one of their retreats, their intuitive psychic ghost hunt retreat in July. So I'm going to do that in July. So I'm looking forward to that. Do you have any final thoughts of Ashmore Estates, Matt?
Um,
Would you recommend it?
that oh yeah, yeah. That place is like if I mean back in the day when the rep place was up and going, I would have been pulling up there and been like, um, when we leaving? you know, it wasn't a very homey feeling to it. It felt like had its ass worked off or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, it's crazy. And then yeah, it just was a cool place. It was kind of nice to check off on my paranormal bucket list.
Yeah, it's definitely cool though. Yes.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend visiting this hauntingly beautiful place. I also want to have a special shout out and thanks to a Facebook group called the Traveler's Moon. They set up the public investigation at the Ashmore Estates that Matt and I attended. Their names are Kelly McCarville and Chris Nelson, and between the two of them, they've been investigating the paranormal for over 30 years and conduct investigations from a technical, spiritual, and intuitive approach. It was fun. They had the equipment you can use and to buy. They had a whole cool display setup It was great. And they also had a gentleman by the name of John Cassidy, who was a special guest paranormal investigator with them. He was really cool, very knowledgeable, had really cool equipment, showed us all how to use it. He even knew Destin Perry from the Ghost Hunters, which was I thought was cool. Um, the Traveler's Moon has several events, upcoming events this year that are coming up. Um, July 13th and 14th, they're going to be in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. It's a psychic and paranormal expo. It's a 13th annual one. I'll be attending that one. It's only 2.5 hours from where I am in Quincy, Illinois, so I'll be attending that one. It's $5 each day, Saturday and Sunday. And if you go to their website or their Facebook group, you can find out more about that. They're also on Saturday, August 3rd at 6 p.m. At the Mineral Springs Hotel in Alton, Illinois. They're having another public investigation, which is the similar one that I went on at the Ashmore Estates, which I highly recommend doing that. They're very informative. They'll show you how to do an investigation and they'll go with you. It's very well worth the money, well worth the trip. I highly recommend it. They also have another one September 20th at the Spook Cave Hunt, or it's called the Spook Cave Hunt. And that one you'll have to go on their page to check it out. You can look them up on Facebook. They go by the Traveler's Moon. You can email them at travelersmoonpara@gmail.com or their website, travelersmoonpara.com. And as for the Ashmore Estate, you can look them up as well for any events they have going on at ashmoreestates.net. And again, a special shout out to the Traveler's Moon. Thank you for a wonderful investigation. I had a great time. Thank you, John Cassidy, and thank you to the Ashmore Estates. And thank you to all my listeners. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, and iHeartRadio. We have a Facebook group, Half Haunted, an Instagram page, Half Haunted 13, a YouTube channel, Half Haunted Podcasts, and a website, halfhaunted.com. Make sure you subscribe and follow for more ghostly experiences. And if you have any similar stories you'd like us to share on our podcast, please let us know by emailing us at halfhauntedpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening and stay half haunted.